Hello, Art on Twist, and welcome back to Raw Recap and Review. This one is from March 16th, 2026 in San Antonio, Texas. And today's show was a banger. If you enjoy WWE content like this, wrestling discussions, and wrestling gameplays, I just started playing the CM Punk Showcase. I have the first VOD on the channel right now, and the second VOD coming up soon. Subscribe to the channel and like the video for more. Now let's get into the first segment of the show. First segment of the show, of course, we get some talking, but we don't know who's talking at first because a whole bunch of masked men appear in the outside. You know, they got in and they roll into the ring, and it's Seth freaking Rollins. He goes on to say that he created the vision, and he will be the one that kills it. And it doesn't matter if you're on the shelf like Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed, or if you're peons like Austin Theory and Logan Paul. He's gonna kill all of it. Mentioned how he destroyed Paul Heyman, and then Paul Heyman walks out looking very disheveled, looks messed up. He has bruises everywhere, and that leads to a whole bunch of "F you" Heyman chants. And then that led to Seth. Seth mentioned that the worst mistake he ever made was allowing Heyman into his life, into his circle, and he gonna be beefing with him until he leaves the wrestling industry. And Paul doesn't say anything at first. You know, Seth's like, "Why ain't you talking? Say something." And Heyman says, "You know, I was just waiting around. You know, because you know the real rule: FAFO. Fuck around, you gonna find out basically." And you hear ding, 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 ding. Brock Lesnar pops out, got his little cowboy fit on, boom, big pyro. He destroys the masked men on the outside. Suplex, throws him to the stairs, everything. He gets into the ring, has to stare it off, but the lights go off. You just hear, whoo. Oba Femi pops out, marches his way down to the ring. They have a little standoff. Brock looks at Seth again. Seth rolls out the ring, and then Oba hits him with a fall from grace on Brock Lesnar, puts his leg on him, and then points that Mania sign. And then it's confirmed later in the episode that it's going to be Oba Femi versus Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania. It's going to be two big, beefy men slapping me. Oba better win. He better win. I'm tired of Brock whooping on black dudes. This needs to be the person that get the dub for us right now. Oba, get that dub for us, gang. Now we move on to our first match of the night. We have the OG El Grande Americano versus El Grande Americano. The weekend before this match, in a AAA event, it was Rey de Reyes, and they have a match between OG El Grande and the other El Grande in the Fatal 4-Way, and the El Grande Americano won. So now, for the describing what things happen in this match, I'm gonna say OG for the Chad Gable Americano, and I'm just gonna say Grande for the Ludwig Kaiser Americano, because if you don't know by now who they are, you're under a rock. But we start the match off heavy with OG getting a lot of offense in. He hits him with a front flip kick onto Grande, and then that leads to a back body drop, throws over, flips him over. And then he gets him into an armbar on the turnbuckle. He's wrenching on an armbar. But the Americanos on the outside of the ring distract OG. That leads him to get over there and to stop the armbar. That leads to Grande doing the baseball slide kick to OG on the outside. He gets OG back into the ring. And then he throws him into the turnbuckle, shoulder first. That leads to Grande doing a tilt-a-whirl slam on the OG. He goes for the pin. That gets a kick out. That leads to now OG is now getting his offense back in. He lands a back suplex on him, and then he even turns into a dragon screw. I love that move. But Grande's trying to get his fights back in. He gets him to the apron. He punches on OG and then tries to do a springboard onto OG, but OG catches him, slams him down for a Northern Lights suplex, but that gets a kick out as well. Then that leads to a chop exchange by both Americanos, which leads to Grande punching him. And then, but OG gets the win off the exchange by landing a belly-to-belly suplex to the outside of the ring, and he lands onto the Americanos, and we get to a commercial break after that. We get back from the commercial break with Grande with the event. He tries to do a back suplex onto OG, but OG reverses that into a throw slam. He catches him, throws him forward slam. That leads to Grande then trying to kick him, but that gets reversed into a leg sweep, into a front flip kick by OG. Now he has the advantage now. Hits him with two German suplexes. Then Grande tries to fight back out of it, but OG stops him and then does the flip slam like that. At least the OG hitting both of the Americanos on the outside. He goes down, hits one on the ground, hits another one while he's on the apron, and then he slams El Grande down to the ground, goes for the pin, and he gets a kick out of that. At least the OG now trying to go for a O'Connor roll German to Grande, but that gets reversed by Grande. He super kicks him, but OG gets right back into it with a forearm, and that leads him to get into the corner. But Grande fights back out of it with an enziguri on the corner, and then he hits him, lifts him up, and hits him with a Death Valley driver on the ground. He goes for the pin. 1, 2, kick out from OG. Now Grande's running towards the OG, and he catches him, big belly to belly suplex into the corner. And then he goes to the top rope to go for a moonsault. He goes for the moonsault, but Grande puts his foot up. OG catches the foot, goes into the ankle lock. Grande gets the rope. Now at least the OG going for the rolling German again, but the ref gets distracted when he's doing the German, so he's going for the pin right now. But Ryo is at the top. Is on the apron. So OG stops the pin. He goes over there, handles that. While that's happening, Bravo on the outside gives the steel plate to Grande. OG doesn't know that. He knocks down both the Americanos, gets from the top rope, goes for the flying headbutt onto Grande, but he has the steel plate on. So now, boom, he slams down. They're both down on the ground. Grande rolls over, gets the pin. 1, 2, 3. El Grande Americano, Ludwig Kaiser version, gets the dub. I give that match a cool 3.5 stars. A lot of interruption, but also it was a very big, heavy OG Grande Americano. He got a lot of the offense in. I wish Ludwig would have had a little. I wish Grande would have had a little bit more comeback in that. But overall, good match, and we still don't have a mask reveal. So what was the point of doing this match? Then we get backstage with Roman Reigns pulling up in a whip. He links up, and the Usos greet him over there. And Roman tells him, they did the right thing last week. He looked at the camera and said, to all my bloodline members, to all my Samoans, y'all should be offended by what Punk said. He said, and he basically put out a green light on Punk saying, hey, if y'all want to handle business with Punk, you can do it before WrestleMania and after WrestleMania. But when it comes to that weekend, that's all me. And then they lead on to other stuff. Then we get a Liv Morgan vignette talking about Finn Balor, and Liv basically says, it was always in her plan to get rid of Finn Balor, and it was a pleasure to see his fall from grace. And she says the Judgment Day are on to bigger and better things. She mentions how JD is free from Finn's influence, how Dom is still AAA champion, and he's going to be getting the IC belt. Says Raquel's a future world champion. Also doesn't mention Roxanne for some reason. What's going on with Roxanne? And then she says she's going to be a new champ at WrestleMania. And she just basically hammers on that we're better without Finn Balor. And we get another backstage segment with the Bloodline. It's basically Jay tweaking while Jimmy and Roman are sitting there. He said, man, you should have whooped Punk for what he said, man. He said, and Roman was like, you ain't gonna believe me, but it's all part of the plan. I know what's going on. I could have tweaked out. And like Jimmy was like telling Roman, just reassuring Roman, like, he got these things about you, but the only thing he can really say about you is that you part-time. What else can he really say about you? And then Roman mentioned that, when we were growing up, how much did you see your father? How much did I see my father? So for now, he wanted to do it and set a new example for his kids. He says being a full-time father is a bigger legacy than anything he's ever done in wrestling. But Jay gets away from that sweet moment and still mad. He's like, man, we still need an apology, man, for Punk. And Roman goes, I don't need an apology, but the Bloodline deserves an apology. I'm going to go handle that later on tonight. Then we get on to our second match of the evening. Is the Intercontinental Championship match between AJ Lee versus Bayley. Bayley won the chance to be in this match by winning a gauntlet match last week. The women start off the match with a tie-up. They have a little strength thing. They get back off. They have a little stalemate. Get right back into the tie-up, which leads into an Irish whip by Bayley. AJ Lee figured out to turn that away into a takedown pin, kick out from Bayley. Then AJ goes on to do a whole bunch of chain wrestling combinations, leading to multiple pin combinations, which Bayley kicks out of it. But then Bayley grabs her one time, tries to go for a suplex, first into a pin. That gets out of it, and then Bayley tries, but then AJ Lee tries to go for a move, and that gets reversed into a small cradle by Bayley, and we get a kick out, another stalemate. That leads to AJ Lee sliding outside the ring, leg trip on Bayley, gets him to the top rope, goes for the top rope crossbody. Bayley gets up, then she hits her with a drop kick that makes her go outside the ring. That leads to her looking at Michael Cole while Michael Cole is literally talking about how she needs to get the Mania. She's going like, I know, Cole, I know. That leads to Bayley running back into the ring. AJ hits her with another pinning combo and then turns that and then kicks her down and then grabs her arm and turns it to a bridging hammerlock. You know, she bridges her body up while hitting the hammerlock. Bayley gets out of it and then hits her with an elbow. Then she runs over to the middle rope stunner onto AJ Lee for the pin, get a kick out, and that's how we get to a commercial break. Get back from the commercial break with Bayley trying to hit a vertical suplex onto AJ Lee, but AJ Lee reverses that by slamming down on her going for a pin. That gets a kick out from AJ Lee. Then that leads to Bayley trying to get the Bayley to Bayley, which is a belly to belly suplex, but that gets reversed into a bulldog by AJ Lee. AJ Lee was reversing everything, I ain't gonna lie. She must be playing on infinite stamina, because if you play the new 2K26, that stamina needs to be patched. He's on fire, multiple clotheslines, hits her with an elbow, then finishes off with a spinning heel kick, goes for the pin, it gets kicked out of. Then Lee does a standing sliced bread. I said, okay, AJ in her bag right now, but she goes for the pin, another kick out from Bayley. Then Lee tries to hit the Shining Wizard. It gets reversed by Bayley. And Bayley grabs her leg while she catches the Shining Wizard. Turns into a half leg Boston Crab. Then she knees her down on the ground after she gets out of it. Knees her. Goes for the pin. That gets a kick out. And Bayley in frustration goes for another pin. But that gets another kick out. Now Bayley tries to finish it off. Tries to go for the Rose Plant. But that gets reversed into a roll-up pin by Lee. But another kick out from Bayley. Now Bayley finally lands the Bayley to Bayley, goes for the pin, another kick out. Now both women are on their knees, punching, exchange. They're having a little booyah back and forth punch exchange. But Lee wins the punching exchange by finally getting the Shining Wizard, and then tries to go for the Black Widow, but Bayley reverses that into a sidewalk slam, grabs her, sidewalk slam down to the ground, then grabs to go for the top rope for the Macho Man elbow. Ooh, yeah. Jumps, misses the elbow drop, and that leads on to getting the Black Widow onto Bayley. She's holding it, she's wrenching it, got that. She put that arm all the way back. She got a tap. AJ Lee retains the championship. Great match. I'm giving this match a 4-star match. Very entertaining. AJ Lee had a lot of offense going in. Bayley took the job well, man. Shout out to Bayley, man. W job taker. Pusher. But then we go into a commercial break. But after the commercial break, we get back, and Becky Lynch is whooping AJ Lee on the stage, beats her down, picks her up, slams her into both guardrails back and forth, then slams her on the barricades, and that's when the officials come out. The officials are out now. They separating them, but Becky Lynch picks up the IC title and it slams it into AJ Lee's face. And that's how that segment ended. Now, that is the end of part 1 of Raw Recap and Review. If you enjoy WWE content like this, subscribe to the channel, like the video. Also, if you want to get the rest of the episode, click on the part 2. Click on the part 2. It should be at the end of the video, right here. One of these places, going to part 2, so you can know the discussion between Roman Reigns and CM Punk. Speaking of CM Punk, you can also check out my CM Punk Showcase playthrough on this channel. Check it out on the page. I'm Twist. Watch part 2.